Hi ladies, it's Sadie here, talking about something that I am really passionate about. I feel like it is something that is going to make you so successful in this business, and I take it very seriously. And with all the other careers that I've had in my past, I worked with Paul Mitchell and I did all of these same things with my students, and it helped make them really successful in their careers as well. So what we're going to be talking about is goal setting. So I feel like with no matter what you're working on in your life, you have to have goals. Goals are so important. If you don't have something you're working towards, you just kind of don't have drive. You don't have a direction. And so it doesn't even need to be with Senegence. Like I said, with Paul Mitchell, I used to help my girls with this, and it helped them so much in their career, know what they were working towards, and have a path and a vision and focus. And it helped them reach it. Because they had an end point in mind, it made the path a little more clear for them. It's the same thing with Senegence, you guys. In this business, there's so much going on. There's always so many things you can be going for. Things get a little bit crazy and hectic, and if you don't have goals, if you don't have something to set your sight on, you'll kind of float. So we need to make sure that we are looking at goals, and we're taking this like as a serious thing. The first thing that I want to go over though, before I get into goal setting, is something that I find very important. I think that every single distributor that signs up with this company needs to figure out their why. Everyone in this business talks about it. It's so big with Joni, with all the vice president and all the crowns and the crown princesses and queens. Everybody talks about their why. Why are you doing this business? Think about it. Really think about it. Did you need to do this? Did you have to do this because you needed money? You needed to be able to support your family. You needed to be able to buy groceries. You needed a new car, and this was just a way to possibly earn one for free. Or are you just social and you want more friends? You want to be able to get out of your house. Maybe you were starting to feel like a little bit of a hermit and you wanted something to do. Or did you just want to broaden horizons and step out of your comfort zone, gain new confidence, build new friends? Whatever that is, you guys, it honestly doesn't matter what it is. There's no right or wrong, and it's going to be different for every single person. But you need to establish your why. If you don't have a why in this business, you will go nowhere because you don't have a reason that you're working for something. So find your why. For me, at the time, I had just gotten out of a horrible breakup. I had to move from Vegas back in with my mom, which was hard for me, and I had no job because the career that I had had for 5 years, the business had closed down, and I was completely at a loss. My why was because I had to find a job, and I was not qualified nor finding any jobs in my town, and I had to find something. I happened to come across Senegence. It has blessed my life forever. But while I was building and I didn't have money to place orders and I didn't have money to buy stuff for events and parties, I understand what it's like to be there, you guys. I was there. I had $0 in my account, and I'm not exaggerating. I was there. That was my why. I had to get to a point where I could support myself, where I could pay my own bills, where I could take care of myself. And that was a pretty big why. That motivated me to work my butt off every single month, to hit my goals, to reach achievements that I set in place for me. And as I did it, it was more important because it had more meaning to it. I had a reason that I wanted to get there. And when I got there, it meant so much to me because I was achieving what I was setting in my mind from the very beginning. That's my why. What is yours? You need to determine that. You can keep it personal. You can put it out in the universe, tell your uplines, whatever you choose, figure it out, and let that drive you. Now, we're going to kind of just talk about just like the importance of goal setting. Sorry, I'm looking at notes, so don't mind me if I look. I wrote everything down so I'd make sure to cover everything for you guys. In this business, like I just said, you always want to have something to work towards. So it may be a big goal, which might be a little bit of a long-term goal, or it may be a small goal that you're trying to accomplish in 30 days, and it's a short-term goal. So know the difference of both. Short-term goals usually happen within a couple days to weeks. Long-term goals usually take months to years. So kind of establish what you want to work towards. Maybe have a couple of short-term goals and write them out. Maybe have a couple of long-term goals and just have things that you're working towards. But don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to hit and work towards everything. You guys, this company has so much to offer. They have so many different incentive programs. And the reason they do that is because they know that they're going to strike different people's interests. Someone may need the car. For me, the car doesn't strike my interest because I have a car that I love and I don't necessarily need a different one. So, but I'm really, really driven by the trips. Some other people might not be driven by the trips. Find what motivates you and focus on that. It's going to be different for everyone. That's why they have so many different incentive programs, but don't overwhelm yourself. The biggest key in goal setting is to determine what you're working towards and write it down. So think about it. Write down your short-term goals. Are you trying to just rank in a month? In 30 days, are you trying to become maiden or countess? And then write down an action plan. What are you going to do to achieve that? What are some things you could do to achieve that? If you don't have an action plan, a goal is just floating. Like, you have to have an action plan to make it. A goal without an action plan is a wish. So remember that. It's a wish. You're hoping it happens. But a goal with an action plan is something that can actually happen. So write down your goal. Write down how you're going to achieve it. If I want to become maiden, I need to recruit 3 new girls on my first line and help them place their first order. How am I going to do that? I'm going to schedule launch demos, help them place their first order, help them recruit. You're writing down the steps you need to take to fulfill that goal. That's going to help you. And then do the same thing for your long-term goals. Write those down. I want to become Crown Princess by seminar of 2018. Write down what you're going to have to do each month or each week to hit that. How many girls do you need to recruit? How much does your team need to do each month in group sales volume to hit Crown Princess in a year? Figure those things out and write them down so you have an action plan. If they're not written down, they are not concrete. They're just floating. Write them down. The next thing you can do is put them out into the universe. I know that's a kind of a silly saying, but I take it very seriously. I feel like anything you put into the universe comes back to you. And if you guys have ever heard of The Secret, I kind of live my life by that, as well as like a lot of my friends and family. If you haven't heard about it, look it up on Google. It's called The Secret. It essentially says that anything you put out into the universe is what you get back. If you're putting out negativity and negative comments and I can't do this and nothing's gonna work and I can't reach my goals, you probably won't. Because you're putting it out into the universe, that's what's going to come back to you. But if you're putting it out into the universe and you're saying, these are my goals, these are what I'm going to achieve, you will. And by putting it out into the universe, I mean making it public. Tell your uplines, contact them, text them, take a picture of your paper and send it to them, or post it on the team pages. I know a lot of uplines at the beginning of the month say, what are your guys' goals? I want to know your sales goals, recruiting goals. Please comment in the comment box so I know what you're working towards. That's putting it out into the universe. That's meaning you're putting it out there and you kind of have to work towards it at that point because people know that you're working towards it. You can't be like, oh, nobody knows that I'm working towards this, so I'm just not going to work on it anymore because no one knows. At this point, you kind of have to, because you've involved someone and they're going to check in on you and say, hey girl, how is that goal coming along that you're trying to get to Countess? How close are you? So making sure putting that into the universe is really going to help you. Also having an accountability partner. An accountability partner is not just someone like for us to say, hey, what are your goals? And you post them on a post and you comment them and I say, great job, you can totally do it. That's one thing, but you need someone that you can interact with on a daily basis. You need someone that is an accountability partner that will check in on you, every day or once a week. It probably is your upline or a parent or a friend or a spouse. Have someone that you're having interaction with on a daily basis that's going to check in on those goals with you and help be a motivator. That's not going to drag you down. That's not going to give you negative vibes and say, oh, you can't do that. Have it be someone that's going to lift you up and say, girl, that's a huge goal, but you can totally do that. Find someone that's going to do that for you. And then always focus on different aspects. Have, sales goals for each month. Have recruiting goals for every month. Kind of specify. Don't just have like a one all-around goal. If there's a certain recognition program you're working towards or a certain contest, be specific about your goals. They have to be specific and they have to be time measurable. Meaning, I have a goal to become maiden and I want to hit that by September 31st, or I have a goal to hit the lips trip and I need to be qualified by the end of September. Specific, time measurable. That is so important. Also, one thing that I loved that Paul Mitchell's education system taught their students that I've kind of adapted into my life is a quote that says, "You move towards what you focus on." And I tell this to girls all the time, even in this business. If you're focusing on the negative, if you're focusing on everyone else's success, if you're focusing on the fact that we're always out of colors, and if you're focusing out on the fact that we can't post incentives anymore, and you're just focusing on the negative, you're going to move towards that. You are going to be moving down, and you're not going to progress, and you're not going to be able to move forward. And honestly, you're going to bring other people into that, and I don't think that's fair either. You're going to bring your downlines into that. Anybody you talk to, I feel like negativity is just like this evil darkness that kind of, once one person has it and they start talking to other people, it just kind of envelops everyone. And I feel like in this business that can't happen, you guys. It really can't, because it's like a fire and it spreads. So my biggest piece of advice, you move towards what you focus on. If you start focusing on your goals and you're positive about them, and you tell yourself every day that it may seem impossible, but I can do it. The word impossible is I'm possible. It's going to happen for you. You just have to continue going towards it. If you keep focusing on the end result, you're going to move towards it. Also, if you're focusing on someone else's team, you're probably going to lose sight of your own. And I can tell you from personal experience, this has happened to me. I was focusing on the success of everyone else around me a couple months ago. And on my distributor dashboard where it shows your graph, that month my numbers completely dropped because I was not focusing on my own team. I was getting discouraged. I was playing the pity party saying everyone else is being successful but me. Everybody else is ranking and everyone else is doing this. But to someone else, I was very successful, but I couldn't get out of my own head because I was comparing myself to these other girls. So that you can't do that. You have to focus on your own goals, your own journey, your own path, or else you're going to lose sight of that. And if you're focusing on someone else, you're going to move towards that. You move towards what you focus on. You'll lose sight of your own business and you'll lose it. So that's the biggest piece of advice I can give you, is focus on your own success. And even though your successes may not be as big as this other girl's, they're still successes, you guys. You don't even understand. Even if your success is clear down here and you're hitting maiden and you're doing $100 in sales in a month, that's huge. That's a success. That's a victory. Look at that. Don't focus on what other people are doing. It's going to hinder you. So I hope that helps you guys, because I can tell you, after I started focusing on myself, my team started getting better. There's a picture that was circulating around after the Olympics of two swimmers. And in one lane, there's a swimmer that's just going hard and he's looking forward and he's focusing on the finish line and he's winning. And then there's a guy in the second lane and he's behind and he's looking at the winner. And what the caption says is, "Winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners." So because the guy in the second line was focusing on what this man was doing, he wasn't able to progress himself. And so please remember that that's a huge thing. You move towards what you focus on success, focus on your goals. You will reach them. And if you get to a point where you feel like you can't, just keep going and move forward. Don't let it stop you. Don't let it make you quit. Just let it drive you more. So that, I know that was kind of a big tangent, but just remember that. Now, the other thing is if you can imagine it, you can create it. And I feel like that really is true. If you can imagine something in your head, it's because your head is letting you know that that's something you're capable of. It won't allow you to imagine something that's out of your grasp or out of your reach. So if you can imagine it, you can do it. So don't think that any goal is too big for you. And then just to kind of end, if you guys are interested in ever actually writing things down or learning more about goal setting, you can go to the Sena U packet, and where you find this is on the back office. If you go to the tabs and go to resources and then down to reference guides, you'll find the Sena U workbook. And in the Sena U workbook, if you go to page 41, it starts off with goal setting, and corporate has kind of put out some information about how to set goals, some ideas. It has you write them down. It tells you about setting realistic goals, different goals you can set. So this is a really good reference guide for goal setting. This is something that I've actually gone through, and at corporate trainings, they'll actually teach you this kind of information. So you can use that as like a guide for you. So I know that this is kind of a lot of information, but I completely know that if you can set goals in this business, you can achieve anything you dream. And I can tell you from personal experience that I know it's hard. I know you struggle, but if you can keep your eye on the prize and have a clear path of something you're focusing on, you can achieve it. So set those goals, work towards them, let your uplines know what you're doing, let us help you and support you, and you'll get there. Good luck, you guys. We'll see you soon.